Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Amateur Repair Time. If you didn't see the previous two videos on this, we did one where I fixed the cabinet up a little bit, and then we did one where I kind of figured out what was going on with the chassis, kind of, with the schematics and things. And so now I'm going to start servicing it a little bit. So one of the things that I want to do is I've got some of this rubberized wiring in here. And it's cracked apart. It's just a couple lines actually. But it's cracked apart and it's not safe, so I'm going to replace it. If I could leave it, I would. I usually leave lots of stuff if I can. I cannot leave this, it's too screwed up. And the reason I got to do that is because this cap that we're going to replace, it's really bad. So that line is really starting to disintegrate. But luckily, most of them, it looks like they've already removed whenever whoever had it before replaced 4 of the capacitors. We've got 3 left here that weren't replaced, and then we've also got the filter caps, which are down in here. Okay, so a lot of this wiring is cloth covered, and it's fine. But there is a couple here, this black and this red, that are that rubber stuff. We're going to have to get rid of that. I'm thinking I might be able to pull it out of the loom, and then maybe I can rethread my new wire right into the same loom. That would be cool, without having to cut the cat gut or the string or whatever that is off of it. I think it's just string. So that's my plan. Also, I'd like to just kind of wipe down some of these wires just to make sure they seem fine and just to see if there's anything wrong with them. My plan of action on the filter caps is to, instead of restuffing them in the can, I know a lot of people do that. I'm not going to do that. I have no interest in doing that. Since they all connect to this little breakout board here, I think I'm just going to put the caps on the breakout board. That makes sense to me. And then over here, we've got a bunch of caps. So these 4 were replaced previously. There's 3 more in there. And there's 1 up here that I already replaced. We've got a couple here that are, to be honest, I don't know what's in here. This is the RF choke, I believe, but I don't know anything about that. And it's not wired exactly like this schematic shows. So I can't replace those because I don't even know what they are. This is the transformer, the output transformer. Right. To be honest, I can't remember. Oh, this is the speaker something or the other. And then this is the main transformer. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, the red and the black have got to go. The red and the black wires are the heater voltage. Okay, so let me start picking that out, and then we'll put some new in. All right, so new red wire, new black wire. I couldn't thread it through because the old stuff was so stiff. As soon as you move it, it just crumbles. All the rubber comes off of it. So I had to cut all of the string loose. But that's all right. We'll put some more back on it. Red wire and black wire. I've got this cool wire that I got from somewhere. Cloth covered. Pretty similar to the original stuff. And I got a bunch of different colors. And so I routed it back around so there's enough. There is a little wire somebody added here, it looks like. But hey, I like it. I'm going to leave it. Or maybe that's factory. I don't know. Routed it around. Put it where it goes, and then the black one goes there. So basically this red one has jumpers You can't see it right now, but there is a jumper down under that goes back over here to these and also goes to this one. And now. Right, so all of those are together, and then all of these are also together. All four of them, this one. So that's a big step. We got the red and the black rubberized stuff out of the way. So the next thing I want to do is we're going to replace these cans. The one's already been replaced with this crap. I'm going to mount a little strip here and then replace those caps here. This one is actually one of these that they replaced and shouldn't have, but we'll figure that all out. So to get that to mount, I've got to get this really hot. So I've got to break out my big high wattage soldering iron over there and get to town on it. So this one we took loose last time. I'll go ahead and mount one there and mount one there. This one I've got to mount to where this wire can reach one of the leads. So I'm probably going to put it right there. All right, so I stood it up on its end. One end has big old heavy boxes on it, so it stands up very well like that. And I removed the extra cap box. You want to get a good look at it finally. So this is the one that was still in there. So I cut the wires. We're going to replace all of them. But I left some on it just so I could kind of make sure I understand what's going on here. So it looks like there was a blue cap, a black cap, and a yellow cap, and they all attached to ground through the case of this cap box, I'm calling it. And then the yellow one has 2 wires on it just because it needed 2 wires. It needed to go this way and that way. So they must have custom potted this just for this radio. Now, this one that had all of the big junk here in the way, they were all attached up to here. These still got this one in situ, right? This one of the wires that came off of the box that was no longer here was a black wire. So, you know, there's a cap inside. The black wire comes out, it goes into here, and then daisy chained over to here. But it was a rubber wire, and it was falling apart. So the black wire on that box was the same as the yellow wire on this box that's all screwed up. So they in their inventory had these boxes with the, you know, this one needed an extra long black wire, and this one needed 2 yellow wires. So they were just custom making them in-house exactly how they needed them for this particular radio. And it's really not that hard to envision. I mean, probably half the stuff in this was only used in this radio. Like this board here is probably this is probably the only chassis that used that board exactly the same. They probably had a slightly different one for other chassis and stuff. It's just how they did it. Keep in mind too, this company went bankrupt. Okay, I cleaned up some of the wiring, just literally cleaned it so I could see what colors it was. That resistor down there that we couldn't tell what was going on, it looks like it's covered with some kind of cardboard sleeve. We may have to end up replacing that depending on what it measures out at. I got my, this is a little ugly, but it's on there good. I wanted to make sure it was on there good, people. So the 2 of the wires come here, and then there's a cap connecting from here to ground. And then there is a wire going down into one of these. And then 2 of these, the wires were going just directly to the cathode of the third one and the grid of the third one. So that is, as we've already seen, it's this cap. right? Connects to the cathode of the third one, and then also connects over to the cathode of the fourth one. And then this this wire is the grid, which is, that wire. It's connecting to the grid of this one and the grid of that one. And then it connects to a 500 ohm resistor, which we figured out is inside this box up here. So that's the one white wire, right? I got that wrong. Yeah, I got two of them. This is the third one. Okay, so that's the one to the grid. That's the one to the cathode. And then this is the one that goes to the anode of the fourth one. So, this is the most confusing thing I have ever done. It's not the anode. It just looks like it. It's the one that goes to the wiring on the other side. So it's right here. So it connects to that. And this is the resistor up inside of the case. Okay, so I've swapped that one, and that one. I tracked them down. I made sure this wiring is exact. It's perfect. Also, from the previous video, we had this right here that says 1.6 ohm resistor, center tapped resistor. I guess that's what it's saying. And it's across the pilot lamp, and it's across the heater voltages on all four of the tubes. So I did confirm that that does appear to be this. If you look, the center tap is these wires right here connecting to this metal connector to the ground, right? And then you've got a wire here coming off of we'll say the top tap of the heater, walking through here, and then the wire here, and see how they're twisted around each other, going to the lower tap of the heater on the next one. And then, of course, all the heaters are daisy-chained together. So that's a resistor. It's just a piece of metal with some wire wrapped around it, which ultimately is what a resistor is. So I think I've got these caps good to go. This one, I'm going to have to put it, if I would have put another terminal here with an extra lug, I probably could have done this a little cleaner, but this one a little cleaner. This is about as clean as I could get it. Basically, all of these are grounds, and that one's its own thing. I'm going to have to take this wire here and extend it. So I'm going to cut this loose, put some nice heat shrink on it, some nice wiring, and extend it over to here. And then my new wire out of here is going to come up and attach there. And that will give me back my two wires that I need. And then I need to have a cap from there to ground. Which is basically what they did, but on the old one, that is replacing these two yellow wires. On the old one, they left the cap inside here and just paralleled this cap across it. That's a bad idea, people. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, and so then we have this blue wire here, which is coming from the cathode of tube 2 to ground. And then you've got the black wire here, which is coming from the grid of tube 1 to ground. And then you've got this one, which is coming from the grid of tube 2 to ground. Or something. We'll figure it out. I'm going very carefully. I'm making sure I get this just right. So I'm working through and double checking, triple checking, quadruple checking as I go through. This one, I may have just got that wrong. Yeah, see, that doesn't. I'm double, triple checking, people. So I'll let you see what I figure out. Okay, so this is what I came up with. I'm going to re-solder these to the plate with some flux, I think, to make them stick better. But I've got everything kind of how I'm going to leave it. This one I had to kind of leave up a little bit just because these are close enough together that since I'm mounting it on the actual posts, I just did that to give it a little more room for the ground. This is the ground connection. Now the yellow wire that came over here that attached to this black wire, surely they wouldn't have done that originally, but the cap that was here in the case, the yellow wire came over and it attaches to that black wire. You would think that there would have been somewhere that connected together. Like there would be a pin somewhere that attached to. You wouldn't think that they would just fly it like that, but that's how it was. You know, I don't have an original one. I had where somebody reworked it back in the day. So what I did was I butted them together, soldered them together, and then put shrink wrap on it. And then I put shrink wrap on that too, you know, because we don't want to get a bunch of interference coming in where that joint is. And then it runs over to here to this post and grabs the cap, which is connected to the ground. And then I was going to use the same yellow wire, but my little grommet there that we have to go through isn't that big. So I had to use a smaller wire. I got it soldered on there very well. That's kind of how the dressing was before, just a little loop and then it went out. This is the wire that was in there. So I couldn't keep that in there any longer. So the only rubber wire that's left, I think, in the whole set, they were mainly on all of those caps. The only one that's left, I think, is there is a black wire running from here to over here, which is actually connecting the two cathodes together on 3 and 4. So it's this wire. It's this wire here. And I'm happy to say I have figured out part of this by just staring at it. So we have these two, whatever the heck these are, up here, and I couldn't figure out what they were specifically, you know. So the cans apparently are caps. Every time they use one of these can things, it's some kind of cap. So if you look at this one, now that I've got a bunch of the junk out of the way, you can see it a little bit better. The cathode of the fourth one comes up here. Boy, that wire doesn't feel great either, but comes up here to a resistor, okay? So if you come over here, the cathode of the fourth one comes to a resistor. It's paralleled in a resistor. It's paralleled in with a capacitor. And then the other side is a ground. Okay. So the resistor would be the one that we're looking at, and see it says green on it. All right, so it's I don't know if they're saying the wire's green or the resistor's green, but that does appear to be what it is. So the cap that's paralleled in, I think, is inside here, I think. Or maybe it's this. So you've got this wire that jumps over to what appears to be another cap of some sort. So the cathode connects to a resistor, and then there's another wire that could be another cap. Or it could be that these two pins go down in here and connect to a cap. Because if you look, there's really nothing else connecting to it. It's just that one green wire and then this black wire coming off of it. And then you would assume that the box itself is the ground. So cathode, cap, and it's hard to figure out. Also, I have not found this yet. Maybe that is it. No, that goes to the... We'll figure it out, folks. And so then the RF choke has a connection to the anode of the fourth one. So the anode of the fourth one is this, right? So that ought to be that. And then inside of there should be 2 small caps and an RF choke. And it's all a thing, and somewhere it connects to ground, but then also sticking out of it is a wire that goes into a transformer. Okay, so if you look, there is a wire coming out of it going into a transformer. So if this is a resistor that's paralleled with caps underneath, see the black wire there and the red wire? So it kind of looks like it's the same thing going on with the other one. And here's our black wire coming off of here. Maybe that's the cap in there. I don't know. So my whole thing is, I didn't know what this was, but obviously that's the green thing. So I think we found that and that. I'm not going to mess with either one of those, other than possibly the resistor, if I can figure out that the resistor is bad. Um, 0.04 microfarad, 500 ohms. I wonder if that's the one. So here's the one that we just did, the wire. The yellow wire. I wonder if our little cap in there is this one. That would make sense, wouldn't it? So the one that we replaced is connected to here. The yellow wire is connecting to here. And then there's that cap in there I couldn't figure out. Maybe it's this one. And maybe the 500 ohms is built into something in there. So on the next video, I'm going to have to go through this and try to check all of these for continuity to see if any of these are screwed up, if I've got a transformer with an open winding in it, or, you know, it'd probably be better to check all that stuff first, but I'm going to fix it one way or another, so it doesn't really matter. And I had such a mess, I kind of wanted to clean it up so I could see where everything was, and I think I've kind of done that, right? So we got rid of the old rubber wiring that was screwed up. We got rid of the cap box, the big bunch of caps that were attached to here that shouldn't have been there. But, you know, I don't like to criticize the way other people did their work. I certainly aren't doing too much better of a job myself, but I'm at least, you know, trying to keep it clean. So we got rid of that. We got rid of the rubber wiring. We got rid of the other rubber wiring that was coming off of the cap box that was here and the smaller one that was here, which are those, by the way. Oh, did I show you that? I think I did. Here's the small one. All right. So there's a blue wire, and then another one comes out and was soldered to the side. I know people restuff these. I'm not interested in that. I don't want to restuff them. I want to get rid of them. I also had people tell me that you can't do that because it'll introduce noise. You know, if it does, it does. The way they had it with them just flying over to here, if mine will introduce noise, that would have introduced noise. So I think we're at a stopping point. I need to do the filter caps over here. I'm going to attach them to this board because basically the filter caps come out and attach to junction points. So I'm just going to remove the wiring, tie it off down here so that somebody can put it back down the road if they want to restuff the caps, and just mount the filter caps on the board and see how that works for us. And then, like I said, we got to test everything. We got to check all of the transformers, see if there's any open windings. We've got to check the, I guess we could check the tubes to see if they're good before we, did we do that on the first video? I've been working on this so long, I can't remember. I don't think we did. But we'll check the tubes, and we need to check all the resistors, replace the resistors that are out of spec, and then we can slowly bring it up. But this is just a long project. Since I'm an amateur, I just like taking it slow. You know what I mean? Little baby steps, a little bit at a time. Cleaning up these capacitors was a big deal to me, as that was the biggest freaking mess, and I couldn't tell where anything went. I'm fairly positive I've got all of them in the correct place. I went through and I marked them off as I did them, and I found all of them that are down here at least. right? I found this thing. I found both of the resistors. I just found this. And on the next one, whenever we measure through, I think what I'll do is whenever on these coils, if I can get some kind of measurement on it with my multimeter, I'll just write down next to it on these schematics what it is. And maybe if somebody finds this video, that'll help them, especially if they know a little more about what they're doing than I do. So what do you think about that? So that's what we're looking at. All right, folks, so there you go. That is today's video. Nothing really exciting happened, but there's not that many videos of these Majestic radios on YouTube, so maybe this will help someone that's missing a part, or they're trying to work through one and they don't know what this is supposed to look like, or if they're all like this or what, because although the schematics are great, there's just not a lot of information out there that people have recorded, at least, about how to repair them. So hopefully this will help people a little bit. So next time, filter caps and testing all of the resistors, coils, all of that stuff. So we'll see you then. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a comment down below. This is Amateur Repair Time.